All right, here we go. We have the Unlisted Negros on the official TLOY channel. Or actually, for the interview, how are you guys doing today?
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing alright, you know, like I've been checking out the EP so far, you know, I really love the sounds of like a lot of the songs, like Woy, like it's actually like a very dope song to check out, like even though it's not on the project, it's a dope single to check out. There's some good singles by the way too that talked a lot about like black femininity and all that and just nonchalance and just enjoying life, so I do enjoy like the EP from there and all that. I saw your performance at the Casa event on King West with like Bartlett House, which was also pretty dope too, you know, and shout out to Bartlett House as well, you know.
Yeah. Shout out to Bartlett. They did what needed to be done.
Most definitely. I don't know if you guys want to give like dope introductions to yourselves by any chance too. So.
Yeah, sure. I'm Tee.Scott.
I'm KayGeni.
We're the Unlisted Negros.
Most definitely. So that people won't get like confused with the names and all that, you know. So just to give like a dope introduction, either way, you know. So yeah. But I do want to like start it off like on a very like high note. So you're from the Bahamas.
Yes, I'm from the Bahamas.
And then you just recently said that you're from like Pickering but moved to Toronto.
Yeah.
So tell me more about your upbringing from there and like what the environment was like growing up as kids. Would you say you guys had like great childhoods back then, or would it be very different?
I had an amazing childhood, I feel like. I look back, I mean, everybody have their, like, you know, things that were difficult or hard or what have you, but, like, for the most part, I feel like the best thing for me about my childhood was that I feel like I got to, like, be a child. Like, I got to, like, have adventures and go outside and, like, climb trees and run around, and like I was doing all type of shit when I was younger. Always in something, always like active in that way. And I feel like because of that, it's so easy for me to like tap into that energy of like playfulness and creativeness now in my like adulthood. But yeah, I had an amazing childhood in terms of just being able to fully live in my creative brain uninhibited, whereas a lot of people don't get that opportunity, so I'm grateful for that. I had a lot of siblings too and a lot of cousins, very active.
Yeah, I also came from a big family, so a lot of my early days were spent with my family in Brampton. That's actually where I was born. So I spent my first few years in Brampton, went to Jamaica, so I also have memories of me climbing the tree, having dinner with my family, very culture heavy, and then moving back to Canada and Brampton, you know, having that setup and seeing my family there and adapting to Canada was definitely a culture shock. And then eventually I ended up moving to Ajax, which was a culture shock. Again, at the time there wasn't a lot of black people there, so I had a bit of a challenging childhood around that time where I just was dealing with a lot of bullying and stuff like that. I dealt with bullying throughout my life a little bit because I was just kind of quiet. But yeah.
Now I use the bully.
Yeah, it was okay. It was okay. Once I fell in love with music, I stayed active in that, and I made sure that I used music as my way to feel good and express myself, and you know, be engaged in that. Family Channel, BET, 106 in Park, that was my shit. That was my childhood.
Yeah, no, most definitely. So usually, like in those specific areas, I know with Bahamas, it's more so of like an island where most people go for vacation and all that, but then like on the outside there's different parts to it, like where there's like actual like communities and like an actual like land where, you know, people just enjoy life. You know, there's like different parts to it, like with agriculture, with slums, with rich parts too, and even like with your upbringing in Brampton and like Picker and Ajax and all these other areas. So that those areas that you guys both grew up in, were there any like musical influences or talent that inspired you to take part in those like specific areas from them?
mean, I feel like indirectly for me, because nobody, I don't want to say nobody, like, I learned this later on. My uncle actually was in, like, he had a band, like, back in the 80s, I believe it was, similar to, like, New Edition, and they would, like, open up for New Edition and those kind of bands and stuff when they came to the Bahamas. But, like, in my direct household, nobody really was, like, in the music industry or business per se. But I feel like music was always, like, a heavy part of, like, everywhere I went. Like, I remember specific things as a child with, like, specific song playing in the background. So there was always music. There was always, like, my Grammy, she have her gospel music she got to play on Sundays. And even though we hated that, like, it was still a very musical, like, household, you know what I mean? Like, my daddy used to, he did a lot of stuff, but he used to DJ when he was, like, in his, I guess, like, early 20s, late teens or something like that. So, like, I remember, like, he had this, like, massive collection of records and a record player, and every now and again they'd pull it out and play it. So, like, there was always that kind of stuff going on. And then in terms of, like, Bahamian culture in general, I feel like Caribbean in general, Caribbean culture on the whole, like, we are very artistically inclined as a culture. So you don't even realize it until you, like, are pulled out of it, and then you realize, oh, wait a minute, like, this shit was, like, ingrained in, like, every part of my life, not just, like, for performance, you know what I mean? Like, we had storytellers that used to come and visit primary school, and I remember I always enjoyed that as a little kid, because it was always some, like, person that would walk in with their, like, fantastical, like, own personal style, and, like, they would just, the way they would captivate us just by, like, telling, like, weaving these stories and, like, doing it in different ways. That was something I always, like, felt called to. And I was, like, super shy as a kid, like, outside of, like, my family and, like, my close unit. Like, I was super shy and quiet until I got on the stage, you know? So that's kind of what happened for me. That was a lot.
Musical influences, I guess the only person that comes to mind is just early childhood, probably, like, Keisha Shante. She was in Brampton, so, you know, that was somebody that was, like, in the area. I'm pretty sure my dad went to the same high school as her. My dad was also a DJ back in the day too, so I was always around, like, good music, lots of you know, mixes, reggae mixes, dancehall and shit like that. But yeah, Keisha Shante is the first person that comes to mind. I thought that she was dope. I still listen to her music to this day.
Most definitely. I know with Keisha Shante, she's, like, mainly from Ottawa and all that, so she was born in Ottawa. So, but would you, like, consider her to be, like, an official, like, Toronto citizen for a bit too, like, just based on, like, her upbringing, like, around there, or would you say, like, she's more Ottawa based?
I don't know. I feel like wherever you live, you could rep that. She might have been born in Ottawa. I'm pretty sure she spent some time in Brampton too. And probably Toronto. So, like, wherever that artist chooses to represent, that's where they represent. But she's a Canadian artist, and she was, like, you know, really doing her thing back then. So that's one person. I really liked her music, and I was like, oh, like, she's from here and she's doing it. So it's possible for, you know, someone like me to do too.
Most definitely. As far as, like, for you guys, what were, like, your first introductions to, like, music, like, around the house? Like, for you, I don't know if you've, like, had, like, a CD that you guys, like, first bought, or if you found, like, your first song from, like, listening to the radio or just, like, listening at home and all that. So
yeah, I feel like Kay said, my grandma playing, like, gospel music on her CDs and stuff like that. That stuff really stuck with me. My dad also played a lot of music, mainly reggae and dancehall, and that's what a lot of my childhood was about. But gospel and dancehall and reggae, really. So I didn't have a lot of R&B and hip hop in my life till I really got older, and I was, like, allowed to watch what I wanted to watch and get time to see BET and Much Music. And once that did happen, I was like super invested, and I was like, I want to do that. I was just captivated by everything that I was seeing, absolutely everything. And my first CD that really made me fall in love with music for real, would be Boyz II Men. Boyz II Men, their CD, Evolution, amazing. That shit changed my life. And I was like maybe 12 at that point. 12, okay?
Yeah.
So like that. I feel like it took me a long time to actually really fall in love with music in that kind of way, to hear the way that they just layered their harmonies, and the art that was put behind that project for me just changed my life. And like I always fuck with what was going on. Destiny's Child, Alicia Keys, all of that stuff. I loved it. Fucking Pretty Ricky, their sexy ass. You know, that project really did it for me. I was like, yeah, I want to do that. And that's why I always wanted to be in like a group. I knew I didn't want to be a solo artist just because of that. Yeah. Here we are.
Well, child, anybody who know me from like childhood could tell you that I've legit like been doing and like living in this realm of like performance and sharing through music and stuff like that, literally ever since I can remember. Like, me and my cousins used to put on a Christmas performance every year at my Grammy house, and this was something that we would like literally like we'd get when we saw each other in the summertime when we were off school. We would like start talking about like what our performance is gonna be for when we having our Christmas party. And my Grammy, like, God rest her soul, she was one of those people where she was like very like tough love, so like you ain't really gonna hear her say too much like sweet things, but her action was very strong. So like we'd be like, oh Grammy, we want to put on a play. She's like, play? What y'all put on an play for? But then like 2 weeks later, she invite all of her sisters. She telling everybody that you gotta come. She making food. She'll like rent a bouncing castle, ice cream. Like she will like deck it out, but then like sit there nonchalantly like, yeah, you know, and just like being living in that, I guess, space where I had like adults who just like allowed me and like went along with the foolishness, went along with the like, oh Grandma, I have an idea I want us to have a band. We didn't have no instruments, you know. We said, but we want to do a band. And so like all of us was playing air. One was playing air guitar, one was playing air drums, one was playing air whatever it was, and like we were like fully encouraged to just like be ourselves in that way. And then like performance wise, like actually like getting on the stage, I feel like my first performance, I was in, I can't, maybe grade 4, and we were doing a church play. And again, like I said, I was very shy, so like anybody outside of my house wouldn't know that I'm the dramatical, loud ass person that I am. So my Grammy kept like trying to like encourage me to like, oh, tell them you want to sing something, sing a part or whatever. And this one lady, Miss Archer, who knew I could sing, she's like, yeah, let her do this part here. And there was a solo in the play, and I remember singing it for the first time, and like when I was done the solo, everybody's like, oh my God, I didn't know you could make all that noise, you know, because I was always so quiet. And for me, I feel like that moment was like, I don't know, it just felt like I felt like I could be my true self and have people like see it for a beautiful thing versus like judging and picking apart. And I always felt more comfortable expressing like truly on a stage versus like sitting down one-on-one like this, if that makes sense. Like I'll get freaked out about, or I used to get freaked out about singing like amongst a small group of people versus like going on a stage with like hundreds, thousands. I'd be like, yeah, piece of cake. Yes, and motherfucking make these people scream and holler. Yes, show them what it is. And then walk off and go sit down quietly like nothing happened. But yeah, music, performance has always been. Oh, I lied. My answer go end right now. So my very, 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 very first memory of wanting to be on stage was I was 4. I was 4, and my oldest sister, she was in this dance troupe. I think I told you this story. She was in this dance troupe, this community dance group or whatever. And I remember they had this big performance where like a bunch, like maybe 50 kids, something like that, and like a bunch of the parents and all the schools came together. This big show, like it was like a concert, but like for children, dancing, singing. They was telling jokes. Like it was this whole production. I remember sitting in the stage, sitting in the audience and watching my sister perform. And I feel like that was the moment of like, oh, whatever that is, that's what I want to do. And then it just like snowballed from that moment. Yeah.
When I was like 4, I forget. As you said that, I remembered like trying to like sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star at my grandmother's wedding around that age, and like totally running off stage. Like the stage was not my friend. Like it's only now that I'm comfortable on stage, but it took me a really long time to get there.
Yeah. No, most definitely. Like usually more on a serious note too, like to actually like capitalize like off that shit and all that. How did you get into like making music, you know, seriously, or just like even like just like writing like in that sense too?
That's a hard question for me because I feel like that has changed so much since you go.
Okay. I guess for me it was probably like 8th grade-ish. That's when like I think we were in like a song music class and we had to like write a song for they brought in a songwriter and all that kind of stuff. And so we had to write a song, and that was probably the first song that I ever wrote with like one of my she was my friend at the time. And we wrote a song together, and because before I didn't think that like I would be a songwriter. I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna just get somebody to write some music for me. I'm gonna just sing, you know, do it like that. But like after that, I was like, okay, like, you know, I can write music. And then like, you know, I got a keyboard, started messing around with that, wrote my song on the keys, performed that in school, like, you know, a few years later. And yeah, I've been writing my own music ever since. I haven't really been like a super like cover person, you know. I've always just been into like my own music. I fuck with that shit the long way.
Yeah, I feel like I've always been writing my own music too. I feel like there was a point where I even like, because like I said earlier, music has always been a means of like me being able to like completely express myself like uninhibited. And so for a long time I couldn't even like have people in a studio session with me. Like I'm still kind of like that now, but it was more so back then because I was like, I felt so vulnerable in the writing process. Like I'm literally spilling my
like a diary
guts out on this song, and like people in here fucking talking about the weather outside. No, you know. But yeah, I feel like I've always been a writer, always been into that.
It took me getting into poetry first, I think, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna turn my poems into music. I really wanted to rap though. Like I wanted to rap so bad.
It's weird because I feel like I knew, like I tell you, from that moment, 4 years old, I knew that stage performance, expression in that way, like, was what I was meant to do. I felt it, and I feel like as cycles of life change and like people expect you to like grow up and like grow out of things and whatever. Like I remember there's 2 people in my class who I remember to this day that like were saying they wanted to be whatever and actually like did that. There was this one boy, Rashad, in grade 1. I remember this vividly. This boy used to draw airplanes on everything. He wanted to be a pilot. 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 Shout out to you, Rashad. This Rashawn, I remember we graduated from high school, gone, whatever. I hadn't seen him in a couple years. Next time I saw him was at the airport. He wasn't a pilot, but he was working baggage claim. I said, oh shit, you love airplanes that much, you working? He said, yeah, man, I just started working. Okay, cool. A couple years after that, I come off the plane. Who's the pilot? And I was like, you fucking, like, he literally, from I could remember, he was saying he wanted to be a pilot straight from grade 1, kindergarten probably, all the way high school. Like, that was he was focused on, that's what the fuck he was doing the last time And, like, funny enough, I always used to tell people that I wanted to be a teacher. And a teacher, but not in the sense of, like, the traditional sense. Like, I knew that, but I didn't really know how to express saying that what it is. And I feel like the way that I teach is through my expression and whatever. So, yeah. Full circle and things.
Yeah. Nah, most definitely. I know, like, with the duo, you know, you guys didn't form until, like, later, but, like, even just, like, before, like, the duo was formed, like, how did you guys, like, actually meet up?
So we were actually doing a musical called Once on This Island for Lower Ossington Theater. They're closed now.
Rest in peace.
But we were auditioning for the same role, and we both got casted. She got the part. Bitch. She got the part, and I was the understudy, and, you know, I should have wanted her to fall down the stairs so I could take snatch that part.
How did you want me to fall down the stairs?
I didn't. I didn't want that at all, actually. I was just like, oh, well, she did that.
It's so funny enough. Okay, let me tell you about this audition process, okay? So I remember, like, this, when I first came to Canada, I didn't know anybody, like, I think at that point I might have had, like, 2 people.
This is 2018, so you only been here for a year?
I've only been here for a year at that point. Didn't know anybody like that. And then I walk into this audition. This is my first, like, audition even. And, like, I was so nervous because I performed and stuff in the Bahamas. I've been performing, and like I tell you, but coming to Canada is a whole new country, so I had to, like, literally start from scratch in terms of, like, building up, like, that, I guess, people to know, like, this is what I do. And everybody that walk in was it just felt so, like, serious, like they was doing their runs and stretching and, like, reading their lines and shit, and people had their fucking air plugs in listening to the sheet music, and I was like, oh my, like, I almost felt like
underprepared.
Like, I was like, oh fuck, like, I'm sitting here fucking chilling, like, what the fuck, these people fucking doing all these, maybe I should be stretching too, bitch, like, let me fucking do a little stretch or whatever. And then, like, I'm sitting there, like, psyching myself out. This is before I was the me who I am now. The calm, cool, and collected bitch. I was like, oh, am I fitting in? And T walked in, fucking, with her hoop earrings and blue hair. I was just like, this is what auditions is? And I was like, yeah. She's like, okay, they saw it yet? No. And she sit down and she put her thing on and she was listening to music and just scrolling through Instagram, and I literally, like, her chill made me feel less, like, other than alien, because I was like, am I doing it wrong? Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know what the hell is going on. And then she came and I was like, okay, it's just them. Like, everybody else on 1,000, and I just need to focus inward.
I was so fucking high. I literally smoked a big
and that was even before I was even smoking like that. See, if I was introduced to the miracle that is marijuana, maybe I would have been in a different place.
I was chilling, y'all. I don't chill.
Yeah, I was very thankful for the chill, for real.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Yeah. So this is, like, at a part where you guys, like, wanted to, like, get into, like, theater for a bit too?
I've always been into...
it's an extension of us as creatives too. Yeah. You know, it's another outlet. Like, Kay, you know, she writes musicals.
Yeah, writes music.
She writes musical plays. She has put on a musical. Mm-hmm. It's my bitch. Yeah, so that at that point that was like my third musical I had done in Toronto. So I was just like going out for that. I had worked with Laura Washington before. And so like yeah, theater is something where we definitely want to do as a duo.
Yeah, we definitely thinking about writing something together.
So that'll be super dope. But you know, it wasn't until, even though we had met and that we had a conversation on the bus one day, and it was super deep, like telling secrets and shit, and
which is not, that's out of both of our characters.
Yeah, like we don't have conversations like that with people.
No.
And we didn't really actually interact that much after that.
No,
because I'm a little lone wolf out here sometimes. You know, I wasn't really interacting with people as much in that musical. I was like, I loved to fuck with everybody, but I was just in my own head. I was chilling, you know, like I don't have to do all that extra shit. So then after the musical ended, it was like probably almost a year after before we actually like clicked
out
and
actually hung out. Yeah,
because they would like hang out with other cast members and I wouldn't go. They stopped inviting me.
He was too cool.
So. I was too cool. I was smoking my weed, fucking going back on stage high as hell.
So like at that time it was kind of like some Brandy and Monica type-ish and all that, you know, with the whole like, you know, I'm the understudy but I wanted that part so bad and all that.
Oh my god. I guess you could say that, but I really didn't care. And she actually got sick. Okay, she got really sick, and so I had to go on, and I didn't
on the day of
you have to go on today.
I was like crazy. Literally I had to run off stage because I was like the stuff that they had to like make the sand was like super dusty, and like this is already around like
it's made out of cork.
Yeah,
cork, just out.
So like when everybody would run on stage, like the dust, like if I'm kneeling down and like everybody run on stage, the plume of dust, like so I was like breathing it in all the time, and I feel like I got like some kind of like lung infection or some shit. Like
that was crazy.
That was awful.
Yeah, they hit me up and they're like, yeah, you gotta go on, and I was like, I had never had rehearsals.
And how many shows did you do again?
I did probably like 5-6 shows.
Yeah.
And like I had never actually ran through the musical, even though I was her understudy, because I was in school at the time, and I couldn't make it to the understudy rehearsals, and like I just really had to go on stage and
do it off of memory.
Off of memory, bitch. It's giving star power.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about like how that duo was formed. So like after like everything else to like you guys like meeting back up in a year. So how did you guys like form the Unlisted Negros duo for a bit?
Well, I think how it happened. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think how it happened, we had both decided that we were going to like release our own little EPs. And so we were like, it started out with us like going to the studio together to like record our own separate stuff. And then I feel like in between there, one night we had like some random.
It was when we did Look Good.
Yeah.
We were like, she was like, I got this hook that like I think that, you know, we could like work on together.
Yeah, what you think about this?
Yeah.
I was so nervous because I was like, oh my god, T, like, would T be into like something like that? I don't know if she could be into that. And then, yeah, we did Look Good. And I was like, ooh.
That shit went hard. Shit. And that was like one.
And
a
freestyle.
That was a freestyle.
Like the two of us literally was like, hold on.
And I was like hella new to rapping too, and like I fucking love that when Tee.Scott in the boot
and I'm looking cute.
What? I was like, who the fuck are you, bitch?
Feeling. Yeah.
So then after that, we pretty much were just like, yo, we don't want this just to be like one song. Like we should do an EP. Let's do a project together. Tee.Scott KayGeni.
Yeah.
And then we're like, fuck it, let's just be a group. And then we're like, the name. What the fuck is the name gonna be? And then yeah, I just started thinking about, you know,
what we want our name to say is what I feel like.
We knew we wanted it to be a punch in the face.
Yeah.
Like,
and black.
Black as fuck. We knew we wanted it to do that, and we love it. We love our name, honestly. I'm proud of that shit. Proud to be black, and thus Unlisted Negros was born.
Dun, 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 dun. Brand new babe.
Definitely. I mean, I think just like even with the group and even with the music scene like right now in Toronto, like there is like a high demand for like pro-black artists and all that. So like even with artists like Kawhi Mighty and even with like Just John and like all these other artists talking about like pro-black power and all that. So I think like it's kind of important that you guys had to be in that picture as well too.
Definitely pro-black. We're obviously black.
But I feel I think that's the thing. That's an important thing to say too. It ain't even a matter of like it ain't. I feel like it ain't something that needs to be said. Like it speaks for itself. Like when you see us, is giving you black. Is giving you like. Okay, Zamunda. Okay, is giving you. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't have to explain that shit to you. I don't have to describe that to you. I don't have to, like, make you understand because it already slapping you across the face. And either you like that slap or you're offended and you're like, ooh, child, let me stay over here. Mm-hmm. And then when you do that, thank you very much.
You can stay there. And that's what our name is, like, about. You know, just, we are black. Why not just put it in the fucking name?
Yeah.
Exactly the way, so.
Call us black,
regardless. And I guess you already explained it on like your YouTube video and all that too. So yeah, I think there's no point to explain there. But just want to add on to like one question like on you. So, at what point did you guys started to take music seriously, and like what inspired you to even like take it to like the next level for a bit too?
I always took it serious. I can tell. Like I feel like my family. Like, where I feel grateful for is, like I said, I feel like I always felt like I had the support system in terms of, like, they may not understand, like, the ins and outs of what going on, but, like, if I told my mom, like, oh, I doing this, like, she could be there. My Grammy, the one who I was talking about earlier, to both my grandparents, actually, but, like, the Grammy who passed away, like, I was in a pageant, and this was something I did randomly, like, how I always was doing stuff. So anytime they heard about something, they would just like show up. And my Grammy bought me this dress that cost, I can't remember, like the dress was like maybe like $800, something like that. This like evening gown. She went and like bought me this dress because she was like, so, well, you need a dress? Okay, yeah, let's go get you a dress. She used to take me to get my hair done. Like, I just had that supportive, but in the same breath, there was support, and then there would be like doubt as well. Like a lot of them would like ask like, well, how long you plan on like pursuing this, or how long you plan on like, how you really think that this is like realistic to build a life off of like doing this kind of stuff. And like a lot of times I didn't know how to answer that question, but there was a part of me that knew that it was possible. I just didn't know how to articulate it. But I believe that if you could think something, you could make it, and you just got to figure out how to make it a thing, And I feel like I'm literally living the life that I was dreaming about, as preparing myself for, and didn't even realize that I was doing that.
Yeah, most definitely. So, what artists or genres were you guys like mainly influenced by? And just even with the duo right now, who'd you guys like to work with someday in that sense?
I don't even really. We sort of talked about who we would work with, but I don't really feel like we put a stamp on it. But our influence as a duo, we
listen to a lot of different.
A lot of stuff. Gospel's really big in our house, but like Floetry was the first like group that kind of like bonded us, and Oshu was more of a newer version of a duo right now. they were in our vibe.
Total.
We listened to a lot of girl groups when we were starting our band. So yeah, stuff like that. I think that like Missy Elliott would be on the list of people we want to work with.
Oh my God, 100%.
For sure. I don't know who else would
Missy. Well, I feel like Missy. I feel like that would have been the person if I had to like really think about it.
Yeah, she'd go crazy. Yeah, that would be super dope. Missy Elliott.
Pharrell too.
Pharrell. Pharrell would be a vibe. I'd love to do a song KayGeni on it too.
Yeah.
Super vibe.
Yeah. Dreams.
As far as like more so like on the rap side too, would you ever consider like working with people like Rico Nasty or like BK the Road?
Yeah, we love Rico.
We listen to Rico too.
Yeah, we do fuck with Rico. We love Doja Cat. Baby Mother.
Jungle Pussy.
Love Jungle Pussy. She actually reposted us on her story once, which was crazy. We were like freaking out because Cupcake go crazy.
Cupcake, yes!
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of female artists out. We listen to a lot of female artists in our crib. So.
And I realized too that we like underground or like just like humming below the like mainstream surface, because I feel like that's where you find a lot of like genuine music. Yeah.
Most definitely, like even like in terms of like female artists, like in the underground scene, you have like what BK the Ruler, I think what Baby X Sosa. You have like even like with the indie stuff with like Princess Nokia and like Ivy Soul and like Tee.Scott and like all those people too, and like even on the R&B side.
Abra. Yeah, unlock it. That track go hard.
That video.
Crazy.
Yeah, most definitely. So Tee.Scott, these two questions are only for you in that sense. So you were actually in a former girl group called Keys like back then. So tell me more about that experience on how you formed that group and what was like that experience like being in that girl group for the first time or during that time.
So being Keys was an amazing experience, honestly. Like I was really young. I don't even think I had graduated high school just as yet. And me and my friend Marley, we're still friends, we're still good. Even Monroe, we're cool too. And we decided at the time we were in a choir group and we were like, yeah, we want to do a girl group, let's do it. So we started like reaching out to like other people. We wanted like 4 or 5 girls, but we ended up getting 4 and then one girl dropped out, and so Monroe ended up being the person that like stuck through, came to rehearsals, and like, you know, we did that. And Marley Unknown, she's an artist as well. Check her out. Shout out to Marley.
Hey Marley.
We formed that together, and we wrote our song called I Salute, and that was dope. And then we went on to write a song called Worth More, and that was dope as fuck too. And yeah, we performed at Manifesto and Honey Jam, which was super cool. We got to do a whole bunch of workshops, and we met like a lot of artists that are still doing their thing to this day. And yeah, it was great. Performing at Manifesto was crazy. Like at Dundas Square, what? No, I think who's headlining that year? I saw Jessie Reyes. This is before she like blew up. I was like, yeah, this girl is boom. Yeah, she was amazing. So yeah, good experience.
Most definitely. And like with that music from there, you could find it like on all streaming services in that sense?
No, I think that our performance from Honey Jam is still on YouTube, I believe. And I think the song with me and Marley, Worth More, Keys the Duo, is on SoundCloud. But yeah, if you find that stuff, check it out. It was a vibe. Such a vibe. Everything I do is a vibe. Bitch.
Period.
Most definitely. So I think we already explained more on the performance side in that sense too. So let's get back into the Unlisted Negro sense. So for first time listeners, how would you guys both describe your music to them, and what can they expect like from the both of you in that sense?
Yeah, I mean.
Wait, let me rephrase that. Divine black pussy.
Yeah, I would put divine in there. Just that black, divine, feminine energy, and there's no limit to that. There's no genre to that. We can't say that we're just a neo soul band or R&B or hip hop. There's so many things. Like, you listen to our project, like, there's a lot going on.
It's the range for me.
Yeah, like, we're not just one thing. We can do whatever we put our minds to, and if we're feeling a vibe, like, it's a vibe.
Yeah. Fun.
We have fun.
But not just like I feel like it's so important to, as like black people specifically, to display like us having a good fucking time and just like living our life. We just living our life. We ain't nothing special or secret or you know what I mean? Like, we just have it, like, we enjoying our friendship, like, we talk shit all the time, we laugh all the time. So like, when you see us chilling and talking, like, we ain't putting on or pretending to like do that for the cameras. Like, this shit we do literally every day. We sit down, we talk about everything. And so when we write music, it feels like we talking from the same brain because we live on that same like wavelength all the time. And so that's what you could expect from our music, like just a genuine vibe, like a real, this is how we feel.
And a lot of our songs are freestyles too, so.
Most.
Yeah.
Well, how many songs on that on the project was written? One. That's how it feels.
Yeah, most of them are like freestyle.
But even in the way that happened was like super spontaneous in itself as well.
Super crazy.
Yeah, most definitely. This is like kind of like a manifestation for a bit too. But do you guys like manifest like having like black people like, or just like even like black folk in that sense being front row and like on shows and things?
We talked about that. You know, this was like I was telling you, this is so controversial. But like, I feel like it's important for our audience to reflect the people that we're trying to like really connect to for real. Our name is Unlisted Negros.
But T was Savage's crowd.
T was Savage crowd was filled with a beautiful African, like of every shape, size, variation, and it was so beautiful to see that like your audience looked like you. And I feel like that's like, and then you had the sprinkle of, you know, salt and pepper through the place. But like, I feel like that's what it is. Like we've had several people like bring us this point of like, oh, you know, your name, like, you know, it might turn certain people off and da-da-da. Well, yeah, like if it turns certain people off, that says already that what we have to offer ain't for you. If the name Unlisted Negros, if you feel uncomfortable saying that shit, if you feel uncomfortable reading that shit, seeing that shit, sitting with us, sitting around us, being around us, why would I worry about what you feel about my music? You don't even like me as you perceive me, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, it's bigger than money and sales and streams and
No.
all of that shit.
No.
Fuck all of that shit.
No.
Like, we're not doing this for that. It's never been about that for me. Like, I just literally, like, want to express myself. And I want to, you know, be what other artists have been for me. And, like, music has saved my life multiple times. Like, being able to connect with other artists and hear their pain and their struggle and know that, like, I'm going to get through that. So...
And it's feel good to see too, like other, like we be walking down the street and like other like black girls will like stop us and be like, "Yo, fuck that shit up," and we be like, yes, bitch, you like that shit? Is it giving, bitch? Like, you know, that connection and that like exchange of like, and they walk away laughing, we walk away laughing, and like being able to like give that to each other, and like you could see people around us even like experiencing that like. That merge, and I feel like that's something that's so magical, specifically about like our people who were like uprooted and then thrown into, you know what I mean? And so that's what I feel like that's what we about, like sharing that, spreading that, and having people realize that it's that easy. You just be your fucking self. Fuck these people. Fuck what they thinking, they thought, and just do what make you feel good.
Yeah.
Cause I remember like No Name like really like talking about this like a couple years ago on Twitter, where she got tired of just like white audiences like being like front row at her shows and just seeing like all white and all that.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And like we love you, or we appreciate you, and and whatever. And I feel like too, it's important to say that it doesn't make your appreciation for my music less. That ain't what it mean. But understand, like, if you love it and appreciate where it's coming from that much, you should know that who is this going to be more valuable to? Me, who kind of already have access to a lot of things just by who I is, versus somebody else who don't got it like that. And that's up to the person to fucking step aside and be like, yeah, I like this, but also I understand that this for y'all. And I respect that.
Yeah, no, most definitely. So I want to talk more about your stage names. So how did you guys get your stage names, and what's like the meaning like behind them?
My name is Tee.Scott, as I said. My name is Tiana, and my friends call me T. Tiana Scott. Scott's my last name, so it just kind of like worked, and like I decided on it. And there's actually a DJ from back in the day, rest in peace, Tee.Scott DJ, and like I get tagged in like vinyls of him on Instagram. yeah, that's crazy. But like Spotify tells me like his plays for the month, like it's fucked up. There's a dot. Don't forget the motherfucking dot, Tee.Scott. Yeah, so that's where my name comes from. It just kind of has a ring to it, and I liked it. I thought about changing it, but yeah.
For me, my name is a mixture of my first name, my given name, and my middle name. And I feel like for me, it was important to. I don't want to say. I feel like I used to tell people like, oh, I hated my name because it was so like normal sounding. But now that I think about it, I feel like there were deeper issues that I had with this with my name. But when I was renaming myself, I still wanted to like, I didn't want to deviate too far from like the names that my parents, who lovingly, like, they gave me those names for a reason, you know. So yeah, that's how KayGeni. So it's a mixture of the front of my first name and then the front of my middle name.
No, most definitely. So I want to ask you guys like this. So what do you guys both bring to the table as like a rising like alt bass like duo, or just like even like a specific like just like a specific bass like duo out of like the Toronto music scene?
We are the table.
What makes you both what makes both of you like individually and the duo different from like the rest in that sense?
I mean, everybody different. Everybody, yeah. Like, I feel like you ain't gotta make you different. Like, I was gonna give a really graphic analogy, and the better part of me said, "Don't do that. Don't do that." But yeah, everybody's different. Everybody have their own. Like, I feel like if we stop like categorizing ourselves, it would be a more genuine like development of like artists who actually like feel comfortable being themselves and ain't just trying to like do these gimmicky stupid shit to like feel like a version of a thing that they think people are gonna like.
Yeah. What she said.
Yeah, most definitely. And you know, with the alt scene right now, it's going crazy for like in terms of like a lot of stuff like with music, art, with fashion. So how do you both feel about the resurgence of like young like black folk like getting into that whole like alt scene, whether it's like for music or art or fashion or for poetry or anything else?
We're definitely here for it. We're rooting for everybody black. So, stay positive, stay shining. We're just here for it all. No matter what it is you're doing, we're just here for black joy. So, creatively or not.
Cultivating joy. That's what black joy specifically.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
We're just here for that shit. So, yeah, man. We're not just black. Like there's so many versions of black people, and it's beautiful to see that. It's super beautiful to see that, but we all relate to each other at the same time.
Yeah,
we come from different backgrounds and shit. Like, it's just an unspoken language.
That's the beautiful thing about it too, eh?
Most definitely. And I know you guys like performed like live like lots of times like at Bartlett House at like your previous events like for Manifesto and like Honey Jam and all that. So in terms of like performing live, tell me more about that progression in performing live with the events you both or you like individually performed live, and how was like that experience like in diverging in that aspect of music?
I feel like I've always enjoyed live performance. I'm trying to think of like a peak performance in my brain. So a couple of years ago, I went to Thailand with my band. I was in a band at the time called Avant Garden. Shout out to Balon. And we went to Thailand. We won Battle of the Bands in the Bahamas, which was like that concert, the stage, fog machines, and fucking big ass stage, and like it was just everything. And anyway, we went to Thailand. It was literally like we was living in a movie. And then we get there, and like I feel like obviously like in a place in Thailand, like we gonna stick out like sore thumbs on top of like looking how we looking, like I'm already tall and we walking around with all these fucking instruments or whatever.
Niggas.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, when we get out on the stage, I think there was about maybe I want to say like 5,000 people or something like that in the audience. Like that was probably the biggest audience so far. And like when they said our name and like we came on our stage and like the people like like you literally feel the like breath of the audience in front of you, and like it just was the funny thing about it that night, like our whole set got like fucked up, but because we were recuperating so well, nobody had a clue. And like that energy, and I feel like that's with any audience though, like that amount of people is a rush, but that exchange you have with your audience where you could feel them like tapping into what you're doing, I feel like that is like, yeah, magic.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I'm just enjoying performing live. I always had a low key like fear. I could feel the like tremble in my voice and all that kind of stuff, and now that doesn't happen anymore, thank God. But so for a long time it just was like really hard for me, but I loved it at the same time. Like I really enjoyed every single performance I've had. Big crowds, small crowds were definitely scarier. I've done like Pickering Stars, which is like a little small competition out of Pickering, and have being in choirs and all kind of stuff. So it's been great. It's been great. Performing live is amazing. I love it. Now, being able to connect with the audience, like it's way better than Instagram. You can't beat that. Actually meeting people on the street, like today, like running into people, them knowing who we are, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. Face to face. and I feel like we've met most of our followers. Like,
yeah.
they've been to our shows. We've shook hands,
Connected,
hugged,
physically.
talked,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like, and we love that shit. So.
Yeah, most definitely. Have you ever had like anyone that like came up to you like as a fan and like got really like emotional, like they cried in that sense too, or not yet?
Not cried, but today was pretty sweet because yeah, she was like, so there was this girl, we were walking, where that was again?
Kensington.
Yeah, we were in Kensington, and this girl run up to us. And she was just like, she's like, yeah, I was just listening to y'all song, and right into y'all song in the park, and then I saw y'all, so I had to like run y'all down and say hi, and like she was like shaking a little bit, like as she was talking, and then I started to shake too, and then me and T was like, really, you just run like
yeah,
over
she
here?
showed us her phone, like our song "Tell Me No Lie" was
like playing in her ears, like
that's crazy, girl. What?
and we just came from a sound check. Doing that was the last song that we did. Anyway, it was just
a lot.
A lot. But it was sweet because it was like a real, like it wasn't a bullshit, like, oh my god, I love you guys so much. Nah. Like, no, like she was genuinely like sitting out in the park, like had our song like on her phone playing, and then here we come walking by her on the street. We never met her before. We didn't even, like, we've never seen her before.
She heard of us through her friend, she said. So, it's just...
Yeah.
It's crazy. I love that shit. These are the moments that we'll literally never forget.
Yeah.
So, as far as, like, short-term and, like, long-term goals, do you guys have any free music career right now?
I don't really live in, like, I feel like that's a tricky because like everybody have like, I guess their like overall like aspirations, but I really been feeling like more and more to like try to like forget all of that shit and just like focus on how I could make like right now the best fucking day right now. And I feel like that has been more fulfilling than me trying to plan, okay, 2 years from now, I need to be in this place. Because what if 2 years from now, I ain't in that place? Then I'm fucking disappointed in myself and I'm forgetting all of the other things that I've accomplished. But this one thing that I set my goal for, I miss it. So I don't really like to do that anymore. I'm just like, what are we doing right now? Like, how can we do better than we did 2 seconds ago, yesterday? Yeah. We did 2 streams on this one. How about we get 10 streams on this next one? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like that's how we kind of been living, like, as the music, even the way the EP came about, like, we didn't necessarily plan that though this was going to be our EP even. We were just like, yeah, these songs, we've been bumping them like this for...
Let's just drop them. People were like asking us for more music after we drop TLOY. And like we were just gonna drop them as singles. We said, fuck it. Let's just give them the whole thing. And we're so happy we did, honestly. We're really proud of that body of work. Yeah. You know, it's so fun. It's such a fun project. We love listening to it, you know, it makes us feel good. And that was our goal with it, so if it makes you feel good. Shout out to you.
Most definitely. So as far as like creative processes go, so what's your creative process for writing your songs, and like what would a day in like making or recording music be like for you guys?
It'll usually be like, alright, so let's record. No, like, let's write. I feel like singing. It would be like, I feel like we live together, right? So it could be random. We'll like feel like singing, and then we'll like throw on beats from wherever and just freestyle. Turn on our voice memos on our phone, and just go crazy for like 2 hours, and then listen back to it the next morning, and fuck with it all.
Yeah. Be like, let's see which ones we like, and then we end up liking like all everything.
Of them. We like everything. But yeah, there's obviously like some more standout songs, and we just decide like, yeah, we want to record it, and that's how all the songs from the EP kind of came together, was off those freestyles. And like we listen back to them and be like, yo, like I can't believe like this is like literally the first time we did this song, and like now it's
a
thing, and like
song.
adding the background vocals and like changing this and changing that. So it's a beautiful process, honestly. And we really just sit down and drink tea and smoke weed and talk shit. That's what we do. And sometimes a lot of our freestyles, we might be a little drunk, might be a little tipsy.
That's true. That's when we talk the most shit.
A lot of the most of the shit talking is drunk shit talking. So yeah, it's just fun. It's not like there's no structure to it. We just really just vibe, and however that comes about, it comes about.
Yeah, most definitely. It aligns itself.
Yeah, most definitely. I had a person that I interviewed like a while back, Savannah Hannah, who was actually on Netflix's like Rhythm and Flow. So she talked about only having like green tea in the studio and all that, and just drinking it to be on her vocals, like to get like the best out of her performance, like when recording. So as far as like you guys, would you say like having stuff like drinking tea or having like incense in the room and like just like smoking weed and like having some licks, would you say like that's kind of like your vibe, like when you're in the studio and all that?
For sure, all of that. We really like to have our sessions private. Like we're not really heavy on like the entourage thing.
No,
you know,
because people don't know how to act.
And then it gets weird, and then we're having to like try not to act like it's not weird, and then try and create in a weird space, and it's uncomfortable, and like people really prefer to have us, unless it's like a said thing. Yeah, we're collaborating, we're here, we're doing this, but we have been in situations where like people are there, and we just gotta go with it, and it's been good, it's been bad, and you know, that's just you live and you learn, experience things.
Most definitely. So you guys have the debut EP, like Unethical Negros. You talked about this at your performance at the Casa place on King West, and then you also talked a little bit more about your single, like TLOY. So I know that you already talked about like the process and like how the EP and the songs were formed. So, but tell me more about the inspiration for both the EP and the track. So what made you guys do that?
Inspiration. Even just like Black Joy. Like,
I feel like, are you mean the songs in particular? You mean
like
the
whole
name
thing?
Of the project, like the project in itself?
I'd say for the inspiration, like what inspired you to make that EP as well as like that song in that sense?
Maybe we could like split it into parts. Okay, so what inspired us to name the project Unethical Negros? I feel like, as we like described earlier, our name Unlisted Negros, like we realized there was like this, and still is this trend of like everybody like kind of like categorizing themselves for, you know, whatever reason. And understanding that's you know, helpful for some people. For me in particular, and T as well, like it got very it became very discouraging and like kind of overwhelming to consistently be expected to explain myself before I even get a chance to like settle in the room. Like I gotta tell you all of these X, Y's, and Z's about me before you even sit down and I even decide if I fuck with you or not. Like suppose I don't want you all in my business like that. Now you don't know all these different things about me just for the sake of like me being easier for you to consume. I don't want to be consumable, you know. And I feel like that's a place where Unlisted Negros came from. Like, if there's one thing I want to identify as, is Black. So the Negroes have to be in there. But the unlisted part is like, you can't define anything else about me. The one thing we could be sure about, I could die Black, I live in Black, and that's it, that's all. Everything else is what I decide. So there's no definition for it. And then the play on that is like, okay, well, if you insist on me giving you explanation let's cross out the unlisted and we're gonna say unethical. Let's give you a word then to describe it a little bit better for you. And I feel like that's where that came about.
Yeah, when you break down just the track list from Pretty Pussy, Tell Me No Lie, Look Good, I Don't Think So, like all of those songs were just so strong. And Disrespectful Man, all of them. Those specific songs up until That's How It Feels, because I feel like that's a whole different vibe. Like those 6 songs were just so like fuck off to a lot of things that I feel like people don't really get to talk about in songs in that kind of way. You know, worshiping,
but still in a soft, feminine, you know, like playful. Like I'll kill you, but then I'll like smile and like make my lips look like lipstick with your blood. Like,
yeah, like worship this pussy. You know what time the fuck it is. Like, you know, you could demand what you need to in the bedroom without being super aggressive.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not every time, you know.
There's so many different things.
Yeah,
I feel like
there's a lot going on. So you definitely, you know, check that out for sure. And then That's How It Feels was like a super just vulnerable moment for both of us, where we were like just talking, and I was just like talking to Kay, and I was like, yo, that's how it feels sometimes, putting your heart on the line. And she was like, yo, that should be the hook. And I was like, all right, let's go. We sang it, wrote to it. A few minutes later, we're in the booth. Boom, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. Like, just did that shit, and that song is like my favorite.
It's so in the fields.
Yeah, shout out to Meganomics and Blind Vibrations, Malcolm. You know, he also produced a song for the beat for I Don't Think So. So yeah, just love.
Yeah. Most definitely, you know, like it was like a very unique project from like start to end, and hopefully there'll be more soon in that sense, you know. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. We definitely would love to give more music before the end of the year, visuals, and you know, just more content, more fashion looks always, and yeah, just being us. For sure.
Yeah. So we just have these like last 2 questions like left right here. So I know with you guys being like Toronto based artists, even like from different areas, how do you feel about the Toronto like music scene like right now at the moment, whether it's like the rap, R&B, or just like any other like industry? Do you feel like that there should be some changes on how the direction of where the scene should go to, or you feel like it's fine the way it is?
I feel like there's always room for growth in whatever area, you know, there is. You should be growing. So I can't exactly say how that is possible for Toronto, but there's a lot of amazing artists out here, as we've met.
Yeah, the city is buzzing.
It's amazing, honestly, that everybody's giving. They're giving, you know, and of course there's people that are not, but the people that are, you know. So like we're really happy to be a part of a group of talented people, a talented city, all across the board.
Yes.
You know, from fashion to music, you know, athletes and all of that, you know. It's a poppin' city. It's good. What can you say?
No, I agree with all of that.
So how do you feel about like events like Rolling Loud and like even with Manifesto with Jasmine Sullivan and like with Thames like coming to Toronto? Do you feel like it gives like a good opportunity so far and all that for like all artists in that sense?
Yes, of course. There's a few, 1-2 people I know that are actually, another girl that I met from Honey Jam, Benita. She's also in that lineup.
Isn't Tara in that too?
Is she? She's in Rolling Loud.
Yeah,
Tara Lord. So there's a few people that we know that. So it just feels like, you know, we're surrounded by talented people. We're really proud of them for being able to do that, and it's inspiring. Truly, it really, really is. Like seeing female artists doing their things. Like there's so many like low key dope artists. Like so, I hope everybody gets their time to shine and showcase their art in whatever way possible, because everybody deserves to be seen. You know, on a grander scale, whatever scale you want to be seen as, like you should shoot for that and get that.
I feel like it benefits like everyone in that sense too, because like, you know, there's like room for like networking and all that, going to these like event meetups, going to these like conference sessions and all that, and like just even like showcasing your music, like just like giving out like EPKs, like, you know, like random like EPK papers like on the street and all that, just promoting flyers. So I feel like everyone's gonna be there in that sense too, and you know, it's like room for people to check out like, you know, your music and everything else too, you know. So
I feel like it's important though, and I feel like you and me spoke about this too, like in regards to like people wanting to like share their music or whatever, and I feel like we kind of did this as well. Like it's easy to say like, oh, go out there and just like share your whatever, like print CDs and just give it out and like do all of these little things. It's easy to say that. What I found to be the most like fruitful and long lasting and genuine is that like common ground connection, not just off of like, you know, like I hate and we've been talking about this too, like I hate to hear like when people go on stage and like they're like cussing out like the audience for like not paying attention, or you know, it's like at the end of the day, like we's all the same kind of people as far as I could like, and I'm an artist too. Yes, you can respect me, but guess what? When I get on the stage, I ain't begging you for shit. I'm demanding your attention. I'm not asking you your permission to do what the fuck I say come here to do. And when I'm delivering, I said what I said. Like there's gonna be a question about what I have to offer once I delivered it. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people need to step more into that. And I feel like that's when we'll see like a real change of like just how we deal with each other, and that exchange of like, yes, we are artists, yes, what we have to give is valuable, but you can't expect people to fuck with it because, oh, I work so hard and like they don't give a fuck about that. When you go to Wendy's and you cussing the girl for fucking burning your fries, you don't care that she was working 12 hours. You just know that you pay for fries and they burn up. You know what I mean? So like that like the ego is important for performance, but you can't be in your ego and trying to like beg people to fuck with you. It's what you doing. Like you fucking with yourself for real, because if you are, the people will come. They will come. You just gotta be patient.
Yeah. Big on the not begging people to work with us because we don't give a fuck.
No.
I definitely know what you mean. So you released the EP, you've performed at a variety of events live recently, and you know, have more stuff in the works too. But what's next for you guys in terms of any other stuff going on, creative projects and so forth? And do you have any final words you'd like to say for any creative or any person out there pursuing their dreams?
So we will be performing this summer all over the city, dropping visuals, like I said, serving looks, and we hope to have another concert or event sometime soon this year as well, and possibly another project might be a surprise. We have a lot of music, honestly. We could drop plenty of albums even, so it's just a matter of us deciding what we want to do, and I feel like it's just fun being able to do that, like you know. And I guess my final words would just, you know, as always, be yourself, be happy, stay safe, and stream our project, Unethical Negros.
Yeah. I'm gonna mirror that. Definitely stream Unethical Negros. Get that in your asshole because you need that for your life and your spirit and your pussy, okay? And what I have to say to inspire, and this just for everybody, like everybody is an artist, eh? Like don't get confused with that word. Like they're all just titles. Like we all have the ability to create. You just have to be confident in yourself. If you fuck with it, then that's all that matters. And yeah, I'll leave it at that.
That's all that matters. For real. Fuck these people.
Fuck these people, man.
Fuck them.
Most definitely. Well, Unlisted Negros, thank you for coming by the TLOY and for, giving me like the time, taking time out of your busy day to like even being in this interview, speaking like a lot of great gems, like speaking about your stories and everything else and your manifestations and everything else too. And I wish like nothing but the best for you both and all that, for the duo, for everyone individually too. And as well, I don't know if you want to like share your handles by any chance, like on social media.
Yes, you can follow us at Unlisted Negros. That's Unlisted Negros. And my Instagram is Tee.Scott Music, TEESCOTT Music.
And I'm at KayGeni, KayGeni. But I don't be on there, so you can follow if you just want to look at stuff. I'm gonna tell you now. So, I be posting on my stories and stuff, but like that's a whole nother story.
Nah, most definitely. KayGeni and Tee.Scott, thank you for just speaking and like giving your piece too. And either way, like as I said, I wish nothing but the best for both of you. And until next time, guys.
Thank you for having us. This was fun.
Peace.
Love you.